Hi guys, welcome back to 234 in La Casa, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Today I'm going to show you all how to make homemade rolls. So I'm going to gather the ingredients and meet you all back over here in just a second and show you all those ingredients, and we can get started. All right. Okay, so these are the ingredients that you're going to need for your yeast rolls. You're going to need to get a tablespoon of sugar, and I already have my tablespoon of sugar in my mixing bowl. And you're going to want to have use the active dry yeast, not the instant yeast. Get your active dry yeast. And for this recipe, you're just going to use 1 packet of this instant dry yeast. You're also going to want to use whole milk, okay, and half a stick of butter. All right, so let me bring you all over here closer to the mixing bowl. So for the yeast, you're going to want to add 1/4 cup of warm water, and you want to make sure that your warm water is between 105 degrees and 115 degrees, 110, 115 degrees. Not any hotter than that, and you don't want to make sure that your water is not cold either. So you want to make sure that it's warm. All right, and so I put the yeast in here with my sugar, and now I'm going to add the warm. Let me move this off here, and so I can show you all a little bit better. Let's see, and I'm going to scoot you back just a little bit. Okay, so I have the tablespoon of sugar and the yeast in the bowl, and I'm going to add 1/4 cup of warm water. And I'm adding the sugar, that tablespoon of sugar, so that if it starts to bubble up, it'll let you know that yeast is active. Okay, so that's what the sugar helps to do. So if it starts to foam and all of that, then it'll let you know that the yeast is active. If the yeast isn't active, then you won't get any rolls. So, I mean, it won't rise. So we want to ensure and guarantee that the yeast is active. Okay, and so this is what it's looking like so far. Hold on, sorry. Okay. And so I'm going to continue to stir it. And then I have a cup of milk in the microwave. You're going to want to add your half a stick of butter to the hot milk, okay? All right, and so I've got my milk up here, and it is hot, and I'm going to go ahead and add, I've got my milk here. It was in the microwave. It's very hot, and I'm going to add the butter to it. Okay, so I just drop that half stick of butter into that milk so that the butter can go ahead and dissolve and melt into that milk, okay? All right, and so we're gonna let this yeast mixture sit here for about 5 minutes. So I'll bring you all back in about 5 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 3 to 5 minutes, and you can see that this has started. I've mixed in the yeast, and you can see that it started foaming up a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and place this to the side for about 10 minutes, okay? So you take about 3 to 5 minutes to go ahead and mix your yeast together, combine it with the water and all of that, and with your sugar, and you'll notice that it will start to foam up, and as it foams up, and it lets you know that the yeast is active, so then you can go ahead and place your bowl to the side for another 10 minutes just to sit, okay? So I'm gonna place this to the side, and I'm going to put a timer on for 10 minutes. And I'm going to cover my bowl with wax paper. If you have something else you want to cover your bowl with, that's fine. I'm just going to use some wax paper to cover the bowl with the yeast in it, just to keep it protected from any kind of debris or dust or anything like that. Okay. And I'll come right back in just a minute. Okay, so now we've added our half of a stick of butter to the hot milk, and I'm going to add 1/4 cup of sugar to the milk and butter mixture, okay? So let me get 1/4 cup of sugar. And you want to add this while the milk is hot so that your sugar can go ahead and dissolve in the sugar, milk, and butter mixture. And if you decide to do your milk on the stove, you just want to to get it up to temperature, then you're going to want to make sure you don't bring it up to just right below like a simmer where it's hot. So not like a rolling boil like you would use, boil water for tea or whatever. You don't want to get it that high. Just like a simmer there where you can see the steam coming off of it, kind of like what you would make for hot chocolate or what have you. That's where you want to have your milk at, okay? And so we have the sugar mixed together, okay, with the milk and the butter. And I'm just stirring, okay? All right. And once you can tell that your sugar is dissolved and your butter and milk and everything's dissolved and combined together, then you know that you're ready to go with your milk and butter and sugar mixture, okay? Okay, so at this point, you can go ahead and add your salt. So you're gonna wanna add a teaspoon of salt to your milk and butter and sugar mixture. And I've already done that, and I have mixed this together, and it has dissolved. And so my timer's still going for my yeast. I have about 5 minutes left, so I'm gonna let my milk kind of sit because it's very warm, and you don't wanna add this hot milk to your yeast. So you can take this time to go ahead and put some grease in a bowl for your dough. So I'm gonna go ahead and grease my bowl that I'm gonna be adding my dough to. That's the bowl that I'm gonna allow it to rise in. All right, and so I've got my glass bowl, and I've got some shortening, and so you can just see, I'm just gonna kind of paint it on here into the bowl at the bottom and around the sides of the bowl. You just kind of paint it on so that way when your dough rises, it's that much easier to get out of the bowl, okay? Okay guys, so the timer just went off, and I'm going to go ahead and you need 1 egg. So I'm going to go ahead and crack my egg and have that sitting here. I'm going to go ahead and let's see here with my yeast, and I'll show it to you. This is what it looks like and when it's foamed up. And I can't tell you, over the past couple of days, I've been trying to make these rolls, and every packet of yeast that I got, the yeast wasn't active. Even though the expiration date, it didn't expire for however many months or what have you, the yeast wasn't active. So that's what it looks like when it's active. It's foamed up, it's foamy, you can see, you can tell. Okay. And so I've got my mixing bowl back over, and I'm going to add the butter, sugar, and salt mixture to the yeast. And I'm just gonna kind of stir that together because my milk and everything has come to temperature. And then I'm gonna go ahead and beat this egg and then add the egg in. Okay. Okay. All right, and so then I'm going to add the egg to the milk, sugar, salt, and yeast mixture, and then go ahead and mix that in. Okay, and so then I'm just gonna kind of mix this together here. There we go. And I'll bring y'all over just so you can kind of see what it looks like. See? Okay. And so to this, we're going to add 4 cups of all-purpose flour. You can use bread flour if you would like. Okay. So you want to make sure that your bread flour says that it combines well with, it's ideal for yeast breads, okay? But other than that, you can use the bread flour, or you can use just all-purpose flour. And you're going to want to use your dough hook for this process of adding your flour and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and get my dough hook added. So I'm going to go ahead and add some flour. And like I said, this is 4 cups of flour. And I'm going to stop, and I'm going to scrape the sides down a little bit. Okay. So we're going here, and you want to continue to add your flour one, a half a cup to a cup at a time. Okay. And you don't have to wait until it's like all blended before you add another half cup to a cup. You can just keep adding. I'll stop periodically just to scrape the sides down, but other than that, I keep going. Okay. And so you can see that it's starting to change and really become like dough. So, and I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of this flour. I'm sorry, it's my dog. I'm sure it's somebody probably outside or something. Okay. And that's all the 4 cups of flour. So I'm going to continue mixing. Okay. So this is what the dough looks like. And so we're going to take this out of the bowl and place it in your bowl that it has the grease in it. Okay. And so that's what I'm doing right now. Okay, and I'm pressing it down. And then we're going to turn it so that it's grease on one side and it's also grease on the other side of the dough. Okay? So it's grease side on both. And I'm going to turn mine over on the other side, back on the other side too, just to make sure it's got plenty of grease on there. Okay, so that's it. And so what I'm going to do now is put some plastic wrap over the top and a dish towel over the top of the plastic and put this in a warm area in my home. So if this was like Thanksgiving or Christmas, it would be a whole lot of cooking going on, and so it would be warm in here. But this is just a random Sunday. It's February, so it's cool in here. So I'm going to leave this, I'm going to have the warmer on my stove, and I'm going to leave this like near that warm area on my stove and allow for this to rise. And it takes about an hour to rise. And so then I can go ahead and wash my dishes and clean up my kitchen and all that and just wait on this to rise. But let me go ahead and put plastic wrap on there so you can see. And I have the regular cling wrap, but I'm just going to use the press and seal because it's open and close to me. So I'm going to place this on the bowl. Okay. Okay, so it's all covered all the way around. And then I will put a dish towel on top of this. Okay. And so this is the dish towel. I'm just going to lay it on top of this bowl. Just like so. Just like that. And then I'm going to put it in the warm section of my stove. So not directly on an eye or anything like that, but just near the section of my stove that gets warm. And then we'll put a timer on for an hour. And I will meet you all back here in an hour to see how the dough has risen. I'm excited. My kids are too. They love rolls. So I'll see you all back here in an hour. All right, guys, so we've got about 12 seconds left on the timer for the rolls. So I'm going to go ahead and go over and get those rolls and get some flour as well, because we're going to need a little bit of flour for our cutting board so we can roll the rolls out. So let me get the dough. All right. So I am going to take the cloth off and the saran wrap. And let me show you all what it looks like. Let's see. Put my scissors away. And I'm sorry, it's kind of funky lighting in here because I have the light off. My kids are in the bed asleep, and so I didn't want to have a whole lot of lights on. They've got school tomorrow. Okay. I'm going to move my cutting board over just a little bit so you can see. Okay, so hopefully you all can see that. And so you all can see that the dough has risen. And I've had it wrapped up for about 2 hours. So you want to have it covered for an hour and a half to 2 hours, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and punch it. Okay, so we've got it punched, and then I'm just going to sprinkle just a little bit of flour on this cutting board. If you have, you just want to use a cutting board. Don't put a whole lot of flour on there, because if you put a whole lot of flour, it can change the texture of your rolls by having a whole lot of flour. So you don't want to change the texture of the rolls, okay? And so what we're going to do, I'm going to put this here, and we're going to knead the rolls, okay, the dough. And so you can either use the palm part of your hands, or you can use your fingers. So if you use your fingers, it's like this. If you use your palms, it's like this. And so you're going to be pressing it away and pulling it back, and pressing it away and pulling it back. And you're going to do this for 5 minutes. Let me turn my board this way. Let me move this bowl too. Okay, so you're going to press, and you're going to fold the sides, and you're going to do this for 5 minutes, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and knead for 5 minutes, and then I'll bring you all back on, okay? Okay, guys, so I'm back, and I've been kneading this for about 5 minutes, and you can see I only used that little bit of flour from the beginning. I have not added any more flour. So now I'm going to try to make this dough into the length of the cutting board. And since this recipe that I'm using, it calls for about 18 rolls, I'm going to cut this roll in half, okay? And I'm going to get a knife and cut it in half. And I'm going to bring my bowl back over that had the grease in it to put half of the rolls in there. Okay, so I've got my bowl. Let me grab a knife. And I'm using a Hinkle's bread knife. I'm trying to get it as long as this board is. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that in half. Okay, and I'm going to put half back in my bowl. All right, so we've got this half, and we're going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and flatten this out some, because we're going to be cutting these into our rolls. And this recipe calls for 18 rolls. So each half, I'm going to try to get 9 rolls out of each half. Okay, and so we're going to pre-cut our dough. Then we'll put it into the shape. Okay, now let me go ahead and get my baking dish covered with some butter real quick. And I usually use, for this recipe, I usually use a smaller baking dish, but I couldn't find it. So I just grabbed this one. I hope it's not too big, but I just wanted to go ahead and at least. Okay. And just make sure you put you butter your sides and your and the bottom and everything, because your rolls are going to rise up. Okay. All right, so I've got that buttered pretty well. Yeah, looks good. All right, so I'm going to come back over here to this dough, and I don't want to leave any butter on the spatula. I want it all in my baking dish. Okay, here we go. Okay, so like I said, in each half, since it calls for 18 rolls, we're gonna make sure to get 9 rolls out of this half. Okay. And if you notice, the top is a little bit shorter in length. That's because I'm going to do my 4 up here and my 5 down here. So the bottom is going to be longer, just so I can make sure I've got my 5. And then we're going to cut, and this is going to be my 5th right there. And you want to make sure that your rolls are even in size. So I'm going to pull this one down just a little bit, this half up here at the top, so I don't get distracted. There we go, because that's my 5th. Now we're going to have 4. Okay, and so what you're going to want to do is grab your dough. You're going to roll it in a ball. Okay, roll it, and then you're going to want to take your little corners and tuck them under. And you're just gonna wanna tuck and press, just like this, okay? Just like that, see underneath? And I'm gonna do some more just so you can, and you're gonna stick it in your dish so that when you put them in here, you leave enough room in there for your rolls to rise, okay? So you don't wanna put them right up against each other. But you see, just tucking and pressing. I just want to show you my last one. Hold on. I'm showing you what they look like in the baking dish, okay? And then if you don't want to roll your dough, you can just tuck your corners if that's easier. And I did a few like that too. You just want to tuck the corners and push them into the dough, okay? If you don't want to roll like what I was doing in the beginning, I forgot to show you all this other technique if that's easier for you. And so with this particular roll recipe, it's 18 rolls or 18, 19 rolls. So it's hard to get it in here, get them in here straight looking or whatever, perfect. But so I had to adjust and move some things around, and they are gonna rise. So what we're gonna do is put some plastic wrap over this and allow them to rise for about 30 minutes. Not to mention not only the saran wrap, but also put your cloth back over the top too. I forgot to mention that. And then put them right back over where you had them before in the warm place for 30 minutes, okay? So I'll be back in about 30 minutes. Okay guys, so it's been 30 minutes, and let me turn the light on. All right, it's been 30 minutes. I have my oven preheated at 375, and so I'm gonna show you all what the rolls look like. Okay, so they have risen, they've gotten bigger, and so all I'm gonna do is brush the tops with some butter and place them in the oven for about 10-15 minutes, okay? So I'm just gonna brush the tops here with some butter. And I'm just using a spatula. You can melt some butter if you'd like to, and mix some honey butter if you'd like to. I know we have some butter here from Texas Roadhouse. That's cinnamon butter, that we have some of that here. And so my kids may put some of that on their rolls. But I'm just gonna brush the tops with some butter. Just plain butter, salted butter, okay? All right, there we go. And so I'm just gonna place these in the oven, like I said, at 375, and for about 15 minutes. And I will bring y'all back. I'll bring y'all back when they're ready. All right, guys, so the rolls are ready. I'm gonna get them out. Okay, and so here they are, and I'm gonna pull the camera down so y'all can see. And they've been in the oven at 375 for 18 minutes, okay? And so you wanna make sure that you put plenty of butter on these. And that's what I'm getting ready to do right when they come out of the oven. Just plenty of butter. Okay? Butter, 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 butter. And it's nice if you have a brush with melted butter, that's good too. Okay? Okay guys, so I opened up one roll, I ate half of it. And so here's another, as you can see that? Nice, buttery. Excellent. I'm gonna give this to my daughter. She wants to taste some. I'm gonna give that to her. But I'll open up another one on camera so y'all can see. So if you see, here I am pulling it apart. Okay. And I was gonna get some more butter, but there it is, opening it up. Put some butter on there. But yeah, so these are the rolls. I hope that you will try these out with your family over the holidays, or just because, you know, sometimes I just make these for Sunday dinner. It doesn't take that long to make it. And so anyway, I love you guys so much, and you all enjoy your evening. I'm getting ready to go to bed in a minute. Gotta get up and take kids to school tomorrow. So thank you for joining me at 234 in La Casa, and I'll see you next time. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I love you guys. Sending so much love to you, and have a great evening.